Hey, my name's James Nicholson and welcome to my YouTube channel. Good news if you follow interest rates. Two central banks are looking to cut interest rates significantly. Now, this could have a big impact on the Federal Reserve and the Bank of England in the coming months. And so it's really important to follow what's going on around the world on that. And this could also impact inflation. And if you're going on holiday, it could also be quite good if you're going to Europe. So there's a little hint on what we're going to talk about here. So before we jump into this, as always, if you haven't done already, do subscribe to the channel over there and hit the bell notification. We're on the way to 25,000 subscribers. This weekend, we've had some huge milestones. We hit 24,000 subscribers, which is crazy, and 3 million views on the channel. So do subscribe and join us on this journey. And while you're here, you know what I'm going to ask next. Smash like, tickle like, do something to that like button over there. That really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. That means you're just an all-round good person, so do that right now. So, interest rates. Well, unfortunately, it's looking like we might not hear from the Bank of England in June. I need to do a bit more research on it, but there's talk that they just won't do any more public appearances. They probably still will have their rate meeting in June, but because we've got the election, they probably don't want to be seen to be political. Rishi Sunak came out and said that if we vote Conservative, the interest rates will be lower. He's got quite a bit of backlash on that because they're meant to be, the Bank of England, separate from the political parties. And so, yeah, I think Bank of England may more likely hold in June now. But some other places are looking to drop this week. And we need someone to go first. And so we've got two places that are looking to do that. So we've got the ECB, which stands for European Central Bank. And they have currently have an interest rate of 4%, but it's expected by 93% of analysts. Let's put that out there. So that's quite a lot. Very high confidence here that it will drop to 3.75 today. Not today, on the 6th, which is around Thursday, I think. So that's important. Now, what would likely happen then is the British pound would likely get stronger against the euro. And obviously we import a lot to our island. And so the pound being stronger means we would get more for our money, which would definitely help with the inflation rate down the line. So that's potentially good news. And also gives us a little bit of a buffer. So when we have our interest rate cut, we're not absolutely destroyed with the currency. Our currency doesn't get absolutely hit. So if we can go up a little bit prior, good news. And so the inflation in Eurozone is interesting. So it's actually 2.6% at the moment. So we're actually lower than them. But they're looking to cut interest rates. They want to stimulate the European region and just get business going, because they're saying it's looking like potentially Europe could have some dark months ahead with job losses and potentially going into recessions in certain regions and stuff like that. So that's why it's quite important that they cut rates to stimulate those economies and get those going. Very good news for us, I think, that somebody is starting to cut rates, because no one wants to be the first person. So we'll let the Eurozone go first. Next is the Bank of Canada, BOC. The Bank of Canada. Now, they have a higher interest rate. So their interest rate at the moment is 5%. And that is looking to have a 0.25% drop as well to 4.75. Now, this is pretty much nailed on as well. 82% of people, analysts, economists think that this will happen on Wednesday this week. That's also good, right? We want more places to start cutting rates. Their inflation as well is also, I think it's important to note this, is also higher than ours, but moving in the right direction. And that's what ours is doing. We know that our inflation is likely to drop again next month. So that's good. We know from the figures, because the rolling 12-month average when we actually get the May data that we're going to get in June. When we get that data through, we know that May last year was quite high, and that's going to drop off. And so as long as we don't have a huge jump up, then we will have lower inflation rate. And we know as well in July that the price cap on energy is going to drop again. That is also going to factor into inflation data going forward. Now, we do have a little bit of a risk on the horizon. We do know that potentially energy costs are going to go back up at the end of this year, which is not great. But that is obviously something that we've got to account for, and we know that that's going to happen. My personal opinion is that I feel that interest rates do need to start coming down. They're really, really painful for a lot of people. I did a video over the weekend where a quarter of people are likely to miss a mortgage payment in the next 12 months. A quarter. That's high. That's because of high interest rates. Obviously, that could lead to more repossessions. And the Bank of England are in a balancing act here. They need to obviously not be seen to be political. They also need to make sure inflation's under control, but they acted so slow with putting rates up. Hopefully they're not going to act so slow with cutting rates as well. That is important. So this is good news. I think this is good, positive news. We want central banks to start cutting rates. That takes the pressure off the Bank of England. It takes the pressure off the Federal Reserve when they look to go, because as I said, nobody wants to be the first person to do this. Both of these places are looking to cut a quarter. I think when we get our first cut, it will be a quarter, definitely in the first one. But then it depends what the economy is doing and what's happening. If inflation is totally dropped, you might see some 0.5% drops in future monthly meetings and stuff like that. So I think that what will happen with these two drops, I think against these currencies at least, you'll see the pound slightly become more valuable. So if you're going on holiday, I'm going to France this year, so I'll get a few extra beers with that money, hopefully, that we get to spend out there. And that's a positive thing for a lot of people, but I think it's more the importing of goods that hopefully will bring those costs down. So that's what we want to keep an eye on. Let me know, what do you think? Do you think the ECB and the Bank of Canada, do you think they will cut rates this week as expected? Not all analysts are right, but these are quite confident signs. 93%, 82%, they're pretty much nailed on that that's going to happen this week. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens. Do comment below what impact you feel this will have on the UK interest rates, because after all, that's all we really care about. Do smash that like button if you didn't do earlier. Do subscribe. Let's get to 25,000 subscribers. We're getting there pretty fast, but I want to get there a little faster. And do check out other content on my channel, including this video right here.